read Brian King's book, Jack Blackman, our trainer, he used to come on. If you were writhing in agony, say you twisted your ankle, they'd turn around and say, Jack Blackman he was our trainer. Yeah. He came on, he says, oh, there's nothing wrong with your son. Come here, give me that sponge. He just put a cold sponge on your foot and up you get. Go on, get back on there. That's how it was. And even I can remember twisting my ankle on a Monday night game against Huddersfield Town. And this was, I had to go to hospital afterwards because I twisted my ankle. Came back to the club, had some treatment, and Jack said to me, we've got a game on Wednesday. I said, yeah, I know that, Jack, but I said, I won't be able to play. So he said, oh, yeah, we'll put a stick of needle in that. That'll be all right. So he stuck, a needle in on the Wednesday morning of the game, and I played on the Wednesday night. And my ankle, it must have been 6 inches bigger than my left. My right ankle was 6 inches bigger than my left.
Yeah, I'm surprised you could get a boot on.
Well, just about did, but there you go. That was it. That's how it was those days.
So what was it like playing with those 5 players behind you at Millwall at that time?
Unbelievable. You could trust them with your life. I mean, Tommy Wilson, he was my mentor. He put me, because he knew I was a young lad just coming to the side, and he used to tell me roughly things to do. Just take care of yourself and all that sort. And it stood me in good stead. Tommy, good player. Harry Cripps, he's a one-off. Harry was a one-off. You never know what you got with Harry, but the thing was that I always found about him was he enjoyed life. Everything that he did with a smile, and nothing fazed him. And, if you can take a little note out of his book, how he used to play and go about things, you wouldn't go far wrong.
What's your favourite Harry Cripps story? We've got to ask you that whilst we're talking about the great man.
Well, Harry, when we used to travel away on a Friday night, they used to have a programme on BBC, It's a Knockout. And he used to run a book. He'd price up have a look what countries would participate in, and he would price them up accordingly. And then he'd run a book, and we had a little wager on it. He always used to come out winning, obviously, because Harry's Harry. He always did. He always come out with the sun shining with Harry.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a ducker and diver, wasn't he?
He was.
I mean, market stall and things like that, didn't they?
Well, I'm not surprised, because on every Christmas there used to be a lorry come down to Millwall at the front gates at Coldblow Lane, stashed with coats, wine, beer, everything. And Harry used to buy a jot lot, and then off he'd go to Essex where he lived, and somehow he had people that wanted stuff, and he used to sell them at a profit. That was Harry Cripps.
And as hard as nails as well, so you wouldn't argue with him.
No, certainly wouldn't. Well, you did go into tackles with him in training, but you knew what you got with Harry. I mean, he does tackle, and like we all did at the time, we just had to stand our ground, and a lot of the time, when I look back now, there was such a camaraderie amongst those players. I was a young lad compared to a lot of them, but they took me in their fold, and well, that's it. It's history now. What we did, 59 home games without defeat, brilliant.
Yeah, but Johnny Gilchrist wasn't a bad player either, was he? Right, hard as you like.
That's right. He was hard as nails, John. Very quick for a fullback as well. He was very fast. But John, he was a steady influence at the back, like they all were. Brian Snowden was steady, as you say, and Harry as well, and Alex Stepney in goal.
Funnily enough, I wanted to come on to Alex Stepney because he would have been probably the next youngest to you, wouldn't he?
Yes, he was. When I got in the side at 19, so I think Alex was about 21, 22 at the time. But the rest of them, they were 30-year-olds, 32, 33, and especially I must mention Lenny Julians. lovely man, good footballer, and salt of the earth.
I was going to come on to Len Julian's a little bit later.
Oh, right.
Because he was actually leading the scorer that season. Did you know that Stepney was destined for great things?
Well, you could see that Alec was a cut above a lot of them. Some of the saves he used to pull off were unbelievable. And when he did eventually go to Chelsea, I mean, he went to Chelsea and then Man United, but he deserved to go there. Yeah, he was such a good goalkeeper.
And he actually went for a world record fee, which was quite something for Millwall to get a world record fee for a player.
Absolutely.
For somebody in his position.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned Lenny Julians. He scored 22 goals that season, was our leading goal scorer. No doubt quite a few of them were supplied by Billy Neal and Barry Rowan.
Yes.
So we had it all over the pitch, really, didn't we? We had very, very good players.
We did. It was, as I said, even the early stages of myself getting into the team, it was a very tight-knit unit. We all knew what one another wanted, what we wanted to do, and it just flowed from there. And as I said earlier, the camaraderie was unbelievable on the field and off the field.
Yeah, but of course, but Billy's been associated with Millwall for almost as long as the club's existed, really, hasn't he?
Well, Billy's my best mate, really. I mean, he's the only one that I keep in touch with. When I do go down there as a guest, I like to see the other players, but Billy is my mainstay, who I talk to, find out how things are about down the club and how things are going. And as I say, I've known Billy for 50 years now. Lovely man.
Was he a good player?
Cool, was he? He had some shot on him. I've never seen over the years somebody of his stature, the way he hit the ball. It was, for a slightly looking lad, what a shot he had on him.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he had Barry Rowan on the other wing.
Yeah,
who was still around the club.
Yeah,
well, he was for quite a long time.
It was a shame what happened to him at the Millwall, because he'd been quite a stalwart there for years, entertaining people. When used to crack so many jokes, Barry, you don't know whether to take him serious or not, but he was a hell of a joke maker. And for the job that he did at Millwall recently, last 5-6 years back now, showing people around the ground, he used to give people a little comedy things and situations, what he came across, always ending up with a bit of a joke. But that was Barry, nice man, entertain people.
Yeah, it was quite good that you talk about entertaining, because he actually had a band, didn't he, with Brian Adams, not Brian Adams for the younger viewers or listeners, who's a musician, but Brian Adams, who played for Millwall at the time. The Surfers, were they any good?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not as far as bands go, anyway.
Because we actually had a singer there at the time called Dennis John, didn't we? Whose son is actually in the Welsh rugby team at the moment.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. Dennis John, when I first went to Millwall, he was the first person that really, how can I say, warmed to me. He used to talk, things through. And he was the first person, I believe, if I think back now, he went to his house. He's the first player to ask us back to his house. And I had a look round, and it was a lovely place he had. And Dennis went to South Africa eventually, didn't he? He left Millwall and went off to South Africa. But he was
then Australia.
Yeah, that's right.